I'm not actually having coffee. I'm sorry. I have just some ginger ale. I'm not sure if it's considered a pop. That is bomb. Is ginger ale considered a soda?
Okay, I found this on the web. Is ginger ale considered a soda?
I don't know. Welcome to episode 2 of But First Coffee. So today's story is going to be about the day where my friend and I decided to help this guy with his car. Every Friday I will always ask my best friend Alina to just like hang out with me, and like we'll go to Target, Walmart, the mall sometimes to eat and just things like that. At the time I had my car that I have now, and it like has Iowa license plates and just everything like that. So this day I picked up Alina and I was like, oh, like let's go here, let's go there. Usually when it's like at the end of the day, we like to do a little drive around downtown just because it's always super pretty and the lights are just really, really cool and everything like that. So we went downtown almost like 10 o'clock. I would say it was like 9:30, and we're like, okay, like we've been downtown for a while, so we're like, okay, let's go home, you know. And we don't really live far away from downtown, so it was nice because I was like, I'll get home by 10, you know. When I was driving home, I have to get on the freeway just because I feel like it's always quicker for me. If you guys live anywhere near downtown Des Moines, you guys will know about that new YMCA where they have that pool. It was kind of like there was nothing there, and there's like a street right next to it. That's the street I'm talking about, and it kind of goes like this way, so like it's only a one way, so all the cars are going like this, like north. And so this day we were going on that street and we were like going to go down towards the freeways. All these cars were somehow signaling over to the left, and I was like really confused, and I signaled over, and we drove past this car that had his hazards on and this guy sitting in it, and he had a flat tire. He had no idea what he was doing. So anywho, we drove back past this guy, and Alina was all like, oh, I feel bad for him, like we should do our daily deed and everything, like doing something nice for somebody. Knowing me, I was like, oh, okay, like let's go help him, whatever, and stuff like that. So we drove around the block again, and then luckily right next to his car was like a parallel parking area, and there was actually an open spot, so I just kind of parked in there. This guy's car was maybe right next to mine. I can't remember if it was right next to mine or like maybe a street out. I'm not sure, but I remember like turning over to him and he was looking at us, and I was like, oh, are you okay? He was like still trying to go and all this stuff. Like he was trying to push his car because I don't know if he knew that he had a flat tire. I'm not sure, or if he was trying to like move it, you know. So Alina and I, we get out of the car and we're sitting there trying to talk to him, and this guy doesn't know English like whatsoever. He knows maybe a little bit, but he couldn't really reply to us in English. So yeah, but I was like saying, like, you have a flat tire, we need to get you off to the side of the road or whatever. And yeah, so I was like, okay, you go in the car, you like try to maneuver. He had a manual car, and at that time I had no idea how to work a manual car. I didn't even know how to drive one. I know a little bit now, but like I never knew anything about manual cars or manual transmissions. So yeah, but like right now, like both of my older brother, or my little brother and my older brother, have manual cars, so I kind of learn off of them and everything. But at that point I like didn't know anything about manual cars. It was like, okay, you like try and start the car and you go whatever, and we can all push it. So we're all sitting out there, all these cars are just straight up passing us, and we're sitting out there trying to push this freaking car. And he had like a super old Honda Accord, I think. I'm not 100% sure. I know it was like a really old car though. So yeah, so we're sitting there trying to push this car and it was going nowhere. I remember sitting there and I was like, I have no idea what to do. Like, I can't just leave this guy here anymore now, you know? I called my older brother and I'm like, I basically told him what happened. I'm like, hey, there's this dude on this side of the street and he has a flat tire. And I'm like, and like my brother knows like about manual transmission. So I asked him, I'm like, how do we push this car to the side or whatever? And my brother is straight up like, you can't move the car if there's a flat tire. And I'm like, duh, equal. Well, that's great. Like, we can't help this guy no matter what. And so, like, I'm sitting there trying to talk to him. Alina's just sitting there like, like, she's like, okay, I'm ready to go, you know? And, I, like, asked this guy, I'm like, do you have any family members, like, that live around here or whatever? And he gives me his phone, but then I'm like sitting here, I'm like, I don't know how to work an Android. So he took it and he was like trying to find like his contacts and whatever. He, on his phone, his wallpaper, he had a picture of this girl and like a mother or something like that. And I asked him like, oh, who is this, blah blah blah. And I was like saying, I'm like, is that your wife? And he's like, no, it's my girlfriend. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. So I'm like, okay, can you get me her number? And like the same wallpaper picture was in his or his like contact picture on there. And I'm like, oh, this is the girl. So I straight up clicked on her name and I called her, and I called her like once or twice and she didn't pick up. And I'm like, what the heck, you know? And he's just kind of sitting there like this. I'm sitting there trying to call her, and then the third or fourth time she ends up picking up and she's like, hello, like she like seemed annoyed, you know? And I'm like, hi, this is Iqua. I'm here with your boyfriend. His car is stuck and he has a flat tire and everything. And she like straight up was like, who is this? I don't even know whose phone number this is. I don't know. I don't have a boyfriend. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? And I'm like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, my bad, I'm sorry. It just said that you were his like girlfriend or whatever. And then I should have told him, I'm like, that wasn't your girlfriend. He's looking at me like, huh? And I was like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what to do. And so yeah, that was so embarrassing and bad. We wasted so much time trying to call her and everything like that. For him, he spoke Spanish, and I have a friend named Jackie. She speaks Spanish and everything, and I was gonna call her, but for some reason I thought she was gonna be busy, so I didn't call her and everything. And I'm like, I have no idea how to help this guy. Basically, I was like, if you go down the street, there's a gas station down there, blah blah blah, like you can probably get help from there. And I couldn't understand him as much, so he kept saying, he said, down there, ride, and Alina and I, we thought he was saying right, and we're like, yeah, down there, whatever. And he was like, yeah, ride down there. And I'm like, yeah, that's right, down there. And we're sitting there like, right. And eventually he tries to get into my car, and I'm like, oh, no. And I'm like, what is he doing? Like, I don't really allow strangers in my car. Like, I feel very uncomfortable when I do that. He seemed really innocent and all, but I don't know, it could have been all an act or whatever. But he was like, oh, you're not gonna give me a ride, whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Okay, this is the part where I am such a bad person. This is where I start lying. I was like, I'm not from here, I'm from Minnesota or something like that. I have to be home in a couple hours. Oh my gosh. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't get you a ride and everything. Like, I was like, I have to be home like in a couple hours and everything. Like, I have to drive back there and everything. And this guy was probably thinking like, bitch, you have a freaking Iowa license plate car and it looks like it's yours and everything. And yeah, that's where my bad side came in. And I was like, I'm sorry, but you know. Anywho, I like straight up started feeding him these lies, and I was saying like, oh, I'm sorry, like this is my sister and like we have to be home, my mom's gonna yell at me, us and everything. And he was like, oh, okay, you know. And I felt so bad for saying that, but I was like, I don't want to give this stranger a ride and everything. Like, it was kind of scary. I was like, I've done my deed, like try to help this guy, but I obviously couldn't. I was like, I'm really sorry, I can't. And I like felt so bad for him, and he's like, oh, okay, whatever. And so he like started to walk and he like disappeared in the night. I don't know. I never seen him ever since. Lena and I basically vowed that we will never ever help somebody, especially at the nighttime. Really hope you guys enjoyed today's But First Coffee, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye guys.